Well, good morning everyone. I am actually at Evesham today. First river match of the season for me. I've got a weekend here. I'm going to fish both days, and it's 50 quid big money bonanza match or something. Every 5 pegs qualifies for the Evesham Festival, but I could do without Riverfest champ Mike Bedding above me. Good friend of mine and a phenomenal angler on this river. Fishes rivers all the time now as well, so I'm getting all my excuses in already. But I'm on peg 68 on the ferry. It's not been fishing very well down here, but there's always a chance of a bonus tench or eel or big perch or even a big bream every now and again. It's supposed to buck it down later, and it's starting to rain a little bit now. We've got a few minutes before the start. I've set the lot up, but I'm going to concentrate on the pole, and I'll get my feeder out later if it is really hard. I have got a tree over there, but I don't want to confuse you. I've got enough swims on the go as it is. So I'm going to try and catch on the emp. I'm going to catch on the emp about 10 metres. It's too deep any further than that. So and so my long sort of 14 metre swim is going to be for eels and bream and stuff. With a chop worm, tears, big emp, little emp, maggots, pinkies, casters, a bit of groundbait. That's it.
Wow, it is time, but I'm ready.
So just a pinch of worm and a few maggots. I don't know if that's the footballers or us. I've not heard the clock chime either. That's it then. Pinch of worm, straight in front. Just a pinch of maggots, a few casters. I didn't put any casters in there, do I? And that's just tight in down the sidewall. Just pull the reeds back a bit. Out there. Okay. And then, so we've got 2 nice swims there on the go. I'm gonna feed 10 metres. These are quite feed packed, just 2 little balls packed with feed because I'm struggling to feed over the top. So just pinkies, casters and ends. It's all over the place the bottom here. So I'm pushing it quite a bit down the peg. There's where I want it. A minute. 2 balls. I might not feed again, but I want to quite feed rich at the start and then kind of forget about it. So that's it. 2 little balls. I'm going to dink hemp over the top. Hardly any flow there. And I've got 1 more swim I want to feed, and that's me tench swim. I've got three big fish swims around me and a short thing, which is this rig. A bait dropper, I'm finding where I put it. Yeah, sort of medium little bait dropper. Old as eels, this I've had this year's, still going strong. And we want some casters in there, definitely want some casters in there. A few maggots, not the best of maggots, and a little bit of worm. I'm not putting loads in to begin with, that's it. Just a bit of bait, eels and perch and whatnot on that. Peg level with that boat. Yeah. Make sure that's emptied. Sorted. And that's all I'm feeding at the start. I have got a 14.5 metre big fish rig as well. I'm not going to feed that until I have to, because I've got quite enough to be dealing with already. Some smallish bit of worm. I'm just going to throw it off the rod on that top kit line there. I'm not going to feed any emp or anything just yet, just hold fire for a little bit. Just see if we can catch something here. Go on. Oh, there they are. Go on. There you are. Oh, stunning little perch. Look at him. I'm not going to spend too much time looking at him. There you are, perch. We're off. Not going to feed anything else just yet. Snap of a worm. Yeah, a couple of little perch short. You're most welcome. So, I'll explain what I've done. I've got a little top kit line just for perch. May tench if I'm lucky. Just dinking a little bit of bait. Just over the lilies, straight in front. I've got a little shallow swim. I've got a tree to my right. I've just chopped it back a little bit, just so I can get tight in. And it's a lot shallower there. But I imagine not many people have fished under that tree, so I can get under it and hopefully catch a few perch there. And then I found a flattish spot. I just come away until I found a nice little plateau. Oh, crikey, this is good. Wow. Solid. I'm sure I'll put a pinch of worm in. Just a little blob. I'll chuck a couple of casters over the top. Yeah, so I've got a chopped worm line and chopped worm maggot caster, bit of everything there. Same down the edge where it's a lot shallower. So it's about 5 foot there, it's about 3 foot down there, and it's about 8 foot there. So I've got 3 nice swims on the go. Another little dink, so there's definitely a few perch there, a little nest of them. And then at 10 metres in front, I've got 2 balls of groundbait. And I'm going to dink hemp over it all day, basically. Pop a little bit of worm in. See how long we can keep these going. A few more casters. So 4 perch and 4 chucks, that's not bad, is it? Yeah, and I'm going to dink a bit of hemp, 2 balls of groundbait, dink a bit of hemp. And then I've got a 14.5 metre, sort of what would be most people's flat float swim. Because there's no flow, I've just gone with a big 4 gram bodied float. If there's no flow and it's deep and stuff like that, I would just prefer a big round bodied float. So here at the moment I've got an 014 rig to a 16 for a bit of worm. I've also got a lighter rig to 010 for single maggot, even little bits of worm. Always start on the heavier rig. And this rig will double up for down the side as well. And I've just got 1 heavy rig on a 2 gram float in about 8 foot of water. For big fish. And then on the 10 metre groundbait swim, I've got a nice 1/2 gram sort of really light strung out hempy rig, and I've got a 1.5 gram rig. I've got plenty of rigs set up today. 2 rigs for close, 1 rig for tench, 2 rigs for 10 metres, and a 4 gram rig for 14.5 metres when that comes into play. That's a great start there. Worm's such an instant bait, so I always start on a bit of worm. You can fish quite crude with worm. If they won't have the worm, then obviously we'll put a maggot on, or might even put a caster on there. Now 4 or 5 pound will be mega today, especially down this end. Past about peg 52, it's hard on this river, really hard. I've been watching, look at the results every week, and it's been terrible down this end. So ooh, there you are, there you are. Just like that. Oh, what we're after. brilliant. Look down this shallower side. Try not to catch that leaf. I've not fed anything else there yet, so they might have ate it and gone. Very wary fish at Evesham, and perch aren't vicious like a lot of venues. How'd you miss that? There are daddy rough and stuff in this venue, so sometimes that's what you mean. Oh, chub. Bloody chub. What's the chub doing down there? Chub line. Brilliant. Nothing after that little chub, so I've just gone on the light rig with a single red maggot. Just going to keep dinking a few casters and an odd maggot. Just pinches. Just pinches. Don't want to dump bait in because we're fishing for very timid fish. Oh, there's a lift and a drop. Just a little perch on a single maggot in the shallower peg. A roach down the side. I've had a roach, a perch and a chub down the side. Oh, that's a bite. I've just heard Mike shout up he's not had a bite down his sides, so and no one's catching at the moment. We're only half an hour in. I'm just getting little tiny fast horrible bites. I think they're very small, maybe little roach and perch down there. I'm loath to put a lighter rig on, because I know what'll happen. We can always do that later if we have to. That'll do for that for a bit. Let's get out on that longer line. A 14 hook on, big bit of worm to start with. Just above the saddle. Very deep, these pegs. Which is why I'm probably targeting closer in more than anywhere, because it's too deep out in the middle. There's nothing out in that deep other than eels and maybe an odd bream. The roach don't want to be in that deepest water. Definitely not. Ooh. Little perch, I would have said. Still got the worm on. I knew that's what it was. I missed 5 bites and then finally hit one. Put a smaller bit of worm on, so we can capitalise on them. Tiny little bites. Quite keen to go on that me groundbait line soon, but I'll keep working this for those perch. It's nice to get a few bites. I know they're only little fish so far, but let's have a look on the groundbait line. Take that section off. I'm swapping and changing, hopping around today. Vomiting to start with. There's a few bleak pimpling about. There's the only other option I could have set up as a bleak rig. I want to try and fish positively if I can. I've got a 20 to 08 at the moment on that. It's quite deep, so I don't want to put a 22 on just yet. There's a lift. Yeah, on there I go. There's a chublet. A little dace actually, a little tiny dace. Smashed it. God. was a bit better. Perch. I think these, there's a little nest of little perch today. Nice big fluoro pinky. Most people are of the opinion we won't catch on these pegs. If we do, it'll be like, you know, 10 little roach if you're lucky. But you never know. I normally have a separate swim to my groundbait swim, but because it's going to be so hard, I just thought plop a little couple of balls and just loose feed over the top and catch around it on hemp. If I was on a good better peg, I'd just feed hemp and hemp alone. Just slipped a caster on my 1.5 rig. Oh, a chunky perch. Let's try that again. It was a funny bite. It was like a lift bite. Another one. Oh, he's got a red eye. Been in the water, that one. Definitely won't coming off. What you got, Mike?
Handful of tiny little bits, mate, you?
Yeah, same. About 15 fish. Ah? Yeah. One tiny roach. No, you? No, they're not that big. Tiny perch. I've had a little chublet as well. Fishing about 4 inches off the deck now. I've had 2 laying on with caster, but the bottom's a bit uneven. I've fouling the bottom a little bit. So I've just come off with a pinky just to see what's there. Little tiny roach, that first chuck. Another little bite then. There's a few little roach there. Better one. Well, these are worth catching on a hard day. I'll try a bit of them in a bit, see if they'll improve in size, but normally give it an hour. We're not quite on the hour mark yet. Where are we? 12? Oh no, we are, hour and 20 minutes in. There's definitely a bit of obstruction down there because I'm off the bottom now, still dragging. Let's go. There we go. Nearly. Jon Arthur. off empty for about a month here now. Right. Fucked off this hemp rig. So I had to lay it in today. I topped up my big fish 10-metre swim as well and not had another sniff on that. But all I think that's in the peg is little perch and little rope.
So you'll be fishing for me in 3 years' time?
Mike's really struggled for 3 hours. I've just seen him just catch 2 or 3 on the feeder now. He's not been able to catch anything short. But he is now. He's catching a few fish. Another fish, Mike. Well, I've just had a couple of more tiny little blade roach fishing off the deck. I'm flicking it probably half a metre past where I've cooked those balls in now. I'm in 2 minds whether to pop one ball in, which will probably wreck my chance of catching on the emp, or persevere and just hope I get a late run on the seed. If I pot in a ball I won't catch on the seed, I don't think. That's a little roach. But £4 best in my section. The first peg in my section has got £4. Mike's not admitting to much, £1 and a bit. I've hopefully got £2. Just got worse and worse and worse. I've gone long on my 14.5 metre line. I've missed a quick fast bite and then I had a mussel, or a snail or something fall off. And that's the only 2 indications I've had on that. I've sat on it quite a while. Nothing. I've gone down a size. A couple more little tiny micro perch, micro roach on there. Oh, a few casters, few pinkies in it. Quick look short and then we'll go straight on that. About 5 minutes ago I put a big bait dropper of maggots in. I've sacked their worm and caster off on that long line. I've just put maggots in now. I've got double maggot on now. I think £4 or £5 going to win this section at the moment, but only £6 to £8 going to win the match. Just under an hour to go now. I'm going to chuck a feeder in a minute, I think, depending on what happens on this line. I plopped a ball in on 11 metres, nothing, not so much as a sniff. After topping up. Daddy rough on the long line. Oh, could have been an eel that, couldn't it? Daddy rough.
Well, that's it. A bit of a hard, scrappy old day. Just lots of little perch either, a lot of missed bites from them, a few little roach, one little chub, and a couple of daddy rough right at the end. Last 2 hours I've messed up really. I should have just chucked the feed the last 2 hours, but you never know. You never know at this place. I've got a couple of pound, and I think first peg of the section's admitting to 4 or 5 pound. But you're not going to need a lot to frame today, I don't think.
Yes, please. There's an honest couple of pound. Yeah.
See how close we are.
Okay. 2, 12, 12.
Here again. I've drawn the exact same peg the next day. So I've just gone to the Hampton Ferry Cafe. I've got myself a Magnum, cheer myself up. Well, it's a team day today, so I'm going to fish a lot more negative today. I'm going to fish for bleak, which I hate doing. Bit of everything. I've plumbed up different areas to where I was yesterday. That long line's still the same, 14.5 metres, because that was the flattest bit. But I found a different spot at 11 metres today, and 2 short spots, and a long spot, and a maggot feeder. And that'll be the lot. But yep, time to eat the Magnum and sulk a bit really, because I'm a bit gutted. I've been on here 2 days running and it's rubbish. So this is what we got today. Pinkies, maggots, casters, worms, bit of groundbait. I'm going to slop a bit of groundbait up, a few bits and bobs, and that's it. I'm going to fish a lot more negatively just for small fish and everything, with a bit more of a team head on today rather than go for glory. I only needed 7 pound to frame yesterday, so I was right fishing for a big fish, because I wasn't going to catch 7 pound of bits, but 1 bonus fish here and I would have potentially won the match. So there you are. Let's have me Magnum.
Yeah.
This might be the best bite I have today.
Yeah.
Unless I can spawn a tench.
Yeah. I used to come down here with my late grandfather when it was called the Lord and Masters, you know.
Right.
You know, when, you know, Ken Giles and all those boys used to
Yeah,
fish it.
yeah.
You know, Max Winter wand. That's the thing, isn't it? You know, the first wand I've ever sort of
All right.
fished with.
Brennan and Hickman luggage.
Yeah, and then you boys they'd cast a waggler over the far bank, wouldn't they? And it'd be a chub and chuck in some pegs. Like, you know, those days are gone now, aren't it?
That's when it flowed.
Yeah.
It's knocking still water today.
My lad lives in Shrewsbury, and I sometimes walk along the quarry. You ever fished along?
Yeah. No, but I've been there with my camera with other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And M3 and all through there.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a mate who fishes the local canals in the Winter League and that. Now that's I call that fishing as well. The canal boys. It's a dying art, isn't it?
This is called scratching today.
Well, you can't do no worse than what's his name.
If I catch £4 today, I'll be mega happy.
You can't do no worse than Paul Cozier when he was doing his River Festival up north.
Oh, I saw that. Was that on the tees?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was hard. But that was red hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I might look for the results later on. So I'm just going to have a walk along.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see my name on the results, but you never know.
Well, there you go.
You never know. Two balls, 11 metres, a bit more straight in front this time. That one's going in. And then one more of this short. Actually, I'll feed that. I'll pinch a worm. caught short yesterday. One there like that. And then down to my right, I'm going to just feed some casters over the worm. And actually I'm going to feed it out from the bank this time, because I've had another plum and I just think it's better. With only 3 swims, single red maggot on. I've had a nice big one. It's on an 18 to 08 at the moment. I've got a lighter rig as well. I'm going to dink some pinkies over in a bit. Just try and catch what we can first. Hopefully we'll just catch a quick run of fish there over those 2 balls. Same groundbait as yesterday, black roach, black lake, soil and some crushed hemp. I just want to have a very quick 5 minutes there, just to see if there's anything big straight on those balls. Let's have a look on this double pinky. I do like pinkies on this river. I've swapped all my tubs round because I think pinkies will be my dominant bait today. I'm not going to feed me long line just yet again, as per yesterday, but I'm going to feed a lot sooner this time. Just lower that down. I'm going to start dinking some pinkies over soonish. And I'll dink pinkies over this short line. I'm going to stick to worm and caster on that right swim. Just see if we can't get a bite on this chunky perch or something, that'd be nice. Now this is a 1.5 grams because it's just not flowing whatsoever. I normally fish 2 or 3 grams in this big, but it's just no flow, so the lighter the better really. I've also got a 1.5 grams pencil float with a lighter hook for bombing it down if there's a little nest of little roach there. Slightly lighter hook length and hook. Nothing at all. Big marks? No. Pigeons are pooping everywhere. Right, start thinking a few now I suppose. Oh, you go bang bang bang, catch a couple of roach if they're about. It's a bit of a worry. We'll leave that alone for a bit. Let's get on that bit of worm. I've gone for a lighter rig on this. Much lighter rig. With little perch in mind, but still beefy enough to deal with a tench if I'm lucky enough to hook one. I noticed most of my bites were just as the rig settled, so I'm just sort of maximising that, hopefully. And the bites were so slight, so I've just lightened everything up. Hopefully we'll get a more positive bite with less resistance to the fish. I thought a little bit of ground bait's not going to do any harm there. I can always catch down there if they won't have it. And I'm not sure how many perch will feed short now anyway, because they're probably all full up from yesterday. Bit of a worry not to get a dink straight away. But I put some pinkies down there this time because the perch was so small. They're more of a pinky size than a maggot size really. But nothing there just yet. Want a bit of worm? Let's try it on this one. Out there. Just touching bottom with a bit of worm at the moment. A few little perch, get some team points in the bag. if I can actually hook one. Come on, fishies. Oh, this is a worrying start. I've obviously killed a couple of robins. Dreadful, isn't it? What have I done to deserve this? Trouble on double pinky. Oh, lovely. Did you get the fish? Oh, nice. You having a good day then?
Could you get away from this area?
This peg.
Yesterday, right?
Huh?
You were here yesterday?
Yeah. I'm glad you think it's funny.
What's the chances of that? Anyway, mate.
I know. I've killed a couple of robins.
Bloody hell. I imagine what went through your mind this morning when you got here.
Yeah, I weren't best pleased. Thing is, it's fishing even worse than yesterday.
Is it?
Yeah. Can't get a bite.
At least that rubbish is gone now, ain't mate?
Can't get a bite. Long line's coming in soon, isn't it? Well, I'm on my light rig now. Just moved the bulk up a bit higher. A bit ambitious trying to fish it as a positive bobbing down rig. And I've had a suck maggot. Keith Ward, the Starlet's bank one, has just been up. He reckons 6 or 7 ounces is best in this section. I got all excited then. Single pinky, can't get a bite. Move it back down, shall we? That's 3 or 4 inches off the deck now. Fine wire 20 at the moment. I'll quickly put a 22 on if it stays like this. Keep thinking some pinkies. I'm sure we'll catch some bleak. Little roach. I've not even touched that pinky, but I'm going to change it, definitely. Oh, if there was any bleak there, it'd be held up. Keep pinky. Very, very lightly dinking pinkies, and every now and again, do that. Right. Just caught up on a leaf. Wow, it's a dumpy roach. We're running fish now. Take a roach again. Right, a little bit of an update. I've got about 10 roach and a tiny little chublet or something, whatever it is. It's gone a bit quiet, so I've just fed a little tiny bit of mince worm down the side. Have another look. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. I knew there'd be one there. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. time to put some pudding in. Just one bait dropper to start with. When I fed that, I fed a bait dropper of maggots. And I've come short. I think I've had a roach and bumped a little roach. So straight back out on this long line now. I'm a bit reluctant to top up my 11 metre swim because it absolutely killed it yesterday. Ooh, 1, 2, 3. Chub. Might as well just gamble and flop a big sloppy ball in there and just leave it now. Bit of a cloud. I've plumbed this long line up as well so I can run my grommet half rig through as well. Especially if there's a few perch and stuff about. I'm just ligging on, holding back a 4 gram float at the moment. We can always fish a nicer float and with a smaller hook and everything just in case. Most matches I generally just fish positive on that line. On a team match, it's definitely important to cover all your options and try and catch anything. Every ounce I catch today is going to be vital. Not sure if I said at the start, but I think £4 will be absolutely mega. £2 will be good. I'm going to have another quick go at 11 metres, see what I can catch. Have a quick go for bleak. Not seen a lot pimpling, to be honest. 1, 2, 3. Ooh. Let's smash me magnet. That one. Like a small fish, I think. Sucked it out of it. Yeah, mangled. So one more look out there. Yeah, we're catching if they're all that size. Well, it is pretty shocking. Let's chuck a worm over. Bombing worm. A straight loading worm to begin with. I'm going to swap to a maggot feeder. Well, that's just tight across. I'm going to chuck a maggot feeder to 3/4, 2/3 to 3/4. Is there anything hiding over there? There's an odd bleak jumping, but I can't catch him. I was going to use my rod rest, but the wind's quite bad, so I'm putting my rod down, and because it's so sluggish, I probably don't need my rod rest up there. We'll see. Yesterday it was definitely better to have the rod up, but that wind's making it a bit tricky. So we'll sink that line. And just fish it like that. 2/3 across on the maggot feeder. A lot of pike striking in those lilies to my left now. Rounding up all the bleak. Oh, that was a bite. Yeah, straight away. Oh, good gin. That's a violent bite as well. Gadging. Googine. What weight you got, Rob? Pound. Don't think I've got that. Just had a lovely gudgeon. He's only just hooked.
What do you normally catch here?
Roach, perch.
Oh, wow.
I've just had an eel.
Mm-hmm.
But there's all sorts in here. It's just fishing,
right.
fishing rubbish at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Quite peaceful, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Except for people like me coming in disturbing.
No, that's all right. Yeah.
Good relaxation. Well, all the best.
Thank you. I've just had an eel, and well, I think it was a reasonable perch, but it's come off on the way in. He watched me pick my catapult up and went ding ding ding. I just think I struck perhaps a little bit too late. Wasn't on for long. It's awkward because there's little taps you've got to hit if it's perch and roach about, but if it's eels you generally have to let it develop. So I'm trying to read the bites and guess what's in the peg. Well, I've got double pinky on at the moment. I've been trying single maggot, double maggot, maggot and a pinky. Just thought I'll try double pinky. What happened yesterday, all the fish seemed to be in the deeper water rather than right across, so I've had 2 or 3 casts across but nothing. Can't believe I've only had a couple of bleak, because I've been pimpling and pike been chasing them and all sorts, but they just can't get a bite off them. Not fishing for them. I've tried all sorts of depths. Well, we are 3 hours in. I must have about a pound now, 14 ounces to a pound, and apparently there's only 3 other people in the section admitting to a pound. That's how rubbish it's fishing. I've been on the pole for quite a bit, so it's worth a quick go just to see. Shep's just been by and he reckons I'm winning the section with a pound and a bit. I don't think I am. Right at the bottom of the peg. Got one little ball in, full of pinkies. Oh, I've just plopped in a little ball, a little golf ball with a few pinkies in, and I've also bait dropped some maggots along. The left camera is frozen for some reason, so I'll leave that alone for a bit. I've dropped down to an 07 bottom and a really light fine wire bloodworm hook, and I've had a couple of roach on it before I potted this ball in, just to see if something would come back up to the top of the swim. Pigeons in the tree, driving you mad. Right, I've just put a ball of bread and gravel in, so let's just hope there's a little pocket of roach I can spark to feed on this bread. Oh, there. I regret not doing this sooner, haven't I? Best roach of the day. Johnny boy, should have put this in sooner. Maybe. I've got about 35 minutes to go. Just having a nice little run on the bread now. Just little roach. They're not coming thick and fast, but enough to keep me plugging away. Just to get some team points. I think every ounce I get in a section as hard as this is going to be important. So we'll keep plugging away. There's definitely an odd little roach down there. Just a little 4mm punch. I've tried 5mm, but it's just the roach are just too small for that 5mm. That's right at the top of the feed. Try and concentrate at the top now. Seem to have found where they are now.
That was fun, wasn't it? I've got a couple of pound, I'm hoping, and which will be mega by the sounds of it. There's up to the ferry rope, I think £1.5 best in my section. I must have close to £2. Bootlay seal and a load of little roach and a couple of gudgeon. Lost one perch on the maggot feeder, and that's it. I think two pegs up, he might have £3. He's chucked the lobworm on a bomb all day, and he's had like 10 good fish on that. And he's probably going to win the section. All Rob Perkins above me. He's caught bait dropper in pinkies, and he's caught on that. But we'll see. It sounds like I've done all right points wise, hopefully. And we've got 3 really good results. 1 bad one. Good state of my nails. It's from all groundbait. So I will wash. Don't worry. But yeah, sounds like I've done okay. So the scales aren't too far away now. So we will see.
3-5 then,
3-5 is winning it.
1, 2. Yes, please.
Probably ain't £2.
Okay, John, check in. Yeah, all good. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good lad. Good lad, he's going to join us then. 2, 1, 4. Thank you, mate.
Yeah,
4.
brilliant. Well done, John.
That'll do. Try and get a picture. Well, there you are, 2 proper grueling matches on the Avon. It definitely fishes better than that sometimes, but we caught it on a bad weekend. The fishing was really, really hard. But loads of lessons learned, and certainly food for thought for future visits. And just nice to see, you know, firstly me drawing bad. I do draw bad, and 2 matches running on the same bad area, bad peg. So I worked it out. I'd actually spent 12 hours on that peg, because I stopped on for a couple of hours afterwards on the Saturday just to get my head sorted and try a few little things, get my feeder rigs right and everything, and set a waggler rod up as well and stuff like that. So yeah, glutton for punishment. So 5 hours on a Saturday, and then 2 hours stopping on, and then another 5 hours the next day. What's the chances of that? But never mind anyway. But yeah, the first match, hard fishing. I got it a little bit wrong. I had a nice start, caught plenty of little fish, you know, plenty of little perch and roach, missed a lot of bites, but that's what happens on a battered river. Basically, that place is fished 3 times a week, match fish 3 times a week. There ain't many rivers they fish Saturday and Sunday on the same pegs, let alone the midweek Wednesday match as well. So and the juniors. So but yeah, so those fish are a little bit hard to catch. They're definitely there, they're just a little bit fickle at times, and it didn't seem to matter how fine or anything you fished. I think they're all there looking at your bait, egging each other on, and once 1 or 2 start feeding, the rest will follow. But it's just getting that little spark to get them to feed. That's the hardest thing. So yeah, but the first match, I'm obviously trying to win the match. I'm trying to frame, so I'm fishing with a bit more of a positive mindset. Yes, I caught small fish and I plugged away for those for a little bit, but I also gave myself a chance of catching a bonus tench or an eel, of which there were tench caught on the day, and there was tench caught on the Saturday as well, on the Sunday, sorry. In all along the river there was a chance of a tench, so you just don't know. And you know, they're anything up to like 4 or 5 pounds. So and obviously there's a bream could turn up from anywhere. There's even carp in there. There's big eels, although eels seem to be few and far between at the moment. So so yeah, I plugged away, caught a few fish. I had a good 2.5 hours, and then the last 2.5 hours were absolutely rubbish. I did well catching all those little perch and a few little roach on pinkies, and obviously those little perch on chopworm short, and then groundbait and pinkies about, what did I fish, 10-11 meters. So that was all right for 2.5 hours, but I just had nothing to do the last 2.5 hours. I should have I definitely should have chucked a maggot feeder those last 2 or 3 hours and just gone for it, and hopefully caught 3 or 4 bonus perch or eels or whatever. But I didn't. But anyway, the next day was an out-and-out team match, so complete different mindset. I didn't mind catching 2 pounder little fish on a team match. I don't mind catching anything, you know, anything that swims I want to catch, and just keep putting a few important team points in my net. It's a 16-man section, 5 sections of 16. So you need to come sort of top 5 or 6 in that 16 to do well. And my 2 pound 1 ounce got me 4th in my 16 pegs. So so to put that into perspective, what was it, 12 anglers had less than 2 pound in my section. So that's how hard the fishing was, and obviously every single one of them would have been trying to catch. They wouldn't have been sitting out for big fish, they'd have been trying to catch whatever they could, whether it was that big or that big. So that puts it into perspective just how hard that match fished. So I'm really happy with 2 pound 1 ounce. Putting that bread in late definitely gave me that last spurt of action. Maybe I could have put it in at the start, but I do think, and it's harks back to my sort of team fishing days with Shakespeare and Tipton and stuff, putting in bread late actually can give you a second lease of life in a peg. A lot of people think you put bread in at the start and catch really early, but sometimes, just sometimes, putting it in late can work as well. So and it did. I've had one nice perch come off, well, a chunky perch, and I've had one little eel on the maggot feeder and a gudgeon or whatever. So I could have stayed on that longer, I'm sure. But once you're catching a few small fish, it's hard to come off those. And I think I did the right thing. Basically, I came 4th in my 16-man section, and the team won. So that's the thing. I did my team bit, We had 4 really good results, one tough result, which everyone carried a bad result on the day, but we had 62 points and a convincing win on the day. So the team, I was fishing for Oxford. It was Captain Mick Denton, Tony Hobbs, Tim Kay was guesting, myself, and Owen Robinson actually won the match, and he had £8. So he done brilliantly there. So on the match the day before was only one with £7 something as well. So 2 tough days on the river, 2 scratching matches for myself, 2 bad pegs. I'm definitely due some flyers on there. I don't know why, I must be glutton for punishment, but I'm quite keen to go back now and see if I can qualify for the Saturday or Sunday, because I'm definitely fishing the Monday team event now for the August Bank Holiday weekend final. So yeah, it'd be nice to fish the Saturday or the Sunday. We'll have to see. But thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hopefully next time I'll be absolutely sacking up on roach or carp or F1s. Certainly don't want to be scratching for £2 a fish too often, do we?